Today is August 6, 2013, 11:10 a.m., and we're sitting with Cleo, Knez, and Delores.
All right. Yes, thank you both for coming in, and if you don't mind, starting with where you were born, we can go there from there.
I was born in Tilden, Illinois.
Okay.
Do I have to say to who?
No, that's fine. And when did you move to Craig?
Well, we came to Colorado when I was 5. I can just barely remember that, but.
Okay.
And my father worked in the coal mine, and we were in Mount Harris. We worked there. We moved to Hayden. From Hayden to Craig, and I was here I'd say about 2 years. My mother died, and my aunt took me, and then I was in Oak Creek, Beaver, Yampa.
Okay.
Glenwood Springs, Gypsum, and then I stayed with my aunt in Peaburg until I was, I think it was about 14, and I went out on my own and babysat for different ones for $2 a week in room and board until I was 16, and then I started working at a little sandwich shop. I worked there, I must have worked there about a year, and then when I got to be 18, I got married.
Okay.
Well, you worked for Grandma too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I worked for Anton's mother when I was 16.
That was Marie Knez and Joe Knez. They're the ones that had the coal mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you remember about growing up around? You seem to move quite a bit throughout Colorado, so.
Oh yeah, there was, when I first came to Craig, we stayed with my aunt. My mother was only 27, and there was 5 of us kids. I stayed with my aunt and uncle until I was 16, then I took out on my own. And I worked for Anton's mother, and that's where I met him. And well, I knew him before, but I thought he was. I didn't care much for him.
Now remember, this is going on.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, after I got to know him, I married him, so I thought about it.
You were married, what, 50? How many years were you married?
Oh, I can't remember.
50. I know you had your 50th wedding anniversary, so it was over 50 years.
It was, I think we would have been married 60 years if he would have lived till August the 28th or something like that. It would have been 60 years. So, I don't know what else to say.
All right. Well, where did you do most of your schooling?
Well, I went to Hayden. My mother moved to Hayden with us, and she worked at the hospital there, Hayden Hospital. And I was 2 years school there, first, second. Started the 3rd grade, and that's when we moved to Craig. And then I went 4th, 5th, sixth grade. I went to fifth, sixth grade here in Craig, part-time. I didn't go a full year because my aunt, we moved to Petersburg up by Oak Creek. And I started eighth grade there and I quit.
Okay.
That's why I went to work.
Oh, okay. And how did Craig compare to Hayden?
Kept what?
How did Craig compare to Hayden?
Oh, I liked Hayden.
You liked Hayden? Okay.
I said if I ever got married, I was moving back to Hayden, but guess what?
It's living Craig. What about Hayden? Did you prefer? Was it smaller in comparison?
Yeah, oh yeah, it was smaller, but I don't know. I guess it was. We stayed there longer than we stayed any place, and it was just kind of home-like. And then my mother decided to move back to Craig, and that was. Then she died. She had a appendix operation, and I guess she got staph infection and she died. In the meantime, my cousin, I stayed with her over in Gibson, and went to school there, not quite a year. And because they moved around, I went from Dotsville to Gibson, from Gibson up Upper Gibson, and then I moved back. I came back to Craig and stayed with my aunt, and I had my 4 sisters and brothers was taken to the orphanage home in Denver. And then when we were, let's see, I was married and I had my first Tommy, my first son, and I can't even remember where I was. Anyway, we moved, she moved back to Dotsville, and then I came back to Craig and worked, and that's where I met my husband. His dad ran a coal mine, Knez Coal Company. In fact, there wasn't hardly any gas stoves here at that time.
Oh, wow.
They were all, and they had wooden walks. I can't remember even the streets being paved till later. They could have been, but I can't remember. They weren't. And I don't know. It just then when we were, after my first boy was born, Tommy, we all found each other. My youngest brother came back he was adopted out to some people in Glenwood Springs. And he came over and worked for some people here in Craig Sweeney's, and he said, "Do you know a Cleo Terry?" And they said, "Well, we know a Cleo Knez." So he called me, and then he told me where my other brother and sister was still in the home. So I got to go to Denver and see them, and anyway, they moved out. They all got married. Was one girl from Craig that went to college in Greeley, and she found my sister, or she talked to her, and my sister said, "Do you know a Cleo Terry over there, you know?" So they said no. They knew a Cleo Knez. So she wrote to me, and the people that had adopted her didn't want us to have anything to do with one another. So we stuck around. She would write me, and I would write to a friend of hers, and she would give the letter. And then after Tommy was born, anyway, we all got together. We found each other, and we had a big reunion. That was great. Then my brother and sister went to St. Louis with my aunt, and they were over there, and my brother got cancer. And he died, and then my sister in Denver, I got with her, but we had really a lot of fun, but she died last year, and her husband both. He was paralyzed, just half, down. And she took care of him for, 20 years? And they both died. She died, and just shortly after that, he died. And so, I don't, and we had 5 kids, and 4. I was going to say 5 boys and 1 girl.
Were you the last one, Doris?
The third.
She was
I was the only girl.
Girl. And we had a farm out on Knez Divide by the coal mine out there, and there used to be a filling station where the Elks is now on that corner, and they had a big bin. My father-in-law would bring coal in there, and if people wanted to, they could sell it, or they would deliver to their house.
And that was the Knez Coal Company that they had?
Yeah. And then, I don't know, there's not much more to tell, I guess.
What was it like raising your family here in Craig?
Oh, I had them all at home on 700 acres. I knew they were someplace in that 700 acres. They weren't running the streets. Delores she held her own with them. The boys would go up and get an elk or a deer. They'd come down and get her to go up and help them dress and carry it down.
They dress it. They help carry it.
I think we had a real good life. I always knew where the kids, till they got in high school. Then I didn't always know. Should I tell them about you and Linda?
We sneak out. We just would go in the neighborhood. We never went to town.
They went kind of over the hill to my brother-in-law's house at night, and so one night I thought, I am going to really catch him. So I went out, and she had a playhouse, a kind of a big, it was sort of a trailer, wasn't it? And she had a playhouse in it, and her and Linda would sleep out there, her cousin. And so I heard the radio going, I waited, and I waited, and I waited. Finally I got scared there might be a snake crawler. They didn't go that night.
Yeah, we had left before you got there. Oh. That radio turned off by itself.
Oh, did it?
Wow.
That is what Linda told me. I said, weren't you scared of snakes going over there in the dark? And Linda said, oh, she thought she heard one night going over the fence, but they thought of it, I guess, but they still went. Did you have a flashlight?
I don't know. Most of the time it was a full moon.
Oh,
no, because you would have seen the flashlight.
So I went back in the house, and I thought, they didn't sneak out tonight.
Right.
They had their horses, and they were in 4-H. Ralph took steers, and Delores, she took sewing and cooking.
I took steers.
Tom
had steers.
No, Tommy had pigs.
Yeah, but he had
Ralph
steers
had the steers.
Both of them did, because I have pictures of them.
Oh, do you? Anyway,
I had cooking and sewing and steer.
Okay.
We had formed a 4-H club. The kids did at our, around my kids' age. There was relation.
Mm.
And they had that, and they named it cowpoke, wasn't it? And I taught.
Breeze basin cowpoke.
Yeah. And then I had, I taught cooking, that cake decorating and 4-H. I made all the grandkids' wedding cake.
Wow.
Out of,
Incredible.
now I don't think I could even start to decorate. But it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had a good life. They might not think so, but I do.
So you were born at home, Delores?
I was born here in Craig, yeah.
Right. Okay. And where did you go to school? Did you go to school in the
Here in Moss.
here in Moffett County?
Yeah.
Okay. What was school like for you?
Oh, it was good. It was just school.
Just school, right.
Run around with when I got up to high school, I ran mostly around with my older brother.
Okay.
He was a senior and I was a freshman, and when he left, it was kind of lonesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were very close. I was
Okay.
close to all the brothers, but it was kind of lonely when all the seniors left and I was sitting down there. Then I met my husband and we got married, and I still had a year of school left.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved to Denver, and I finished school out in Denver. I had enough credits here to graduate, but I didn't. I needed a half a credit in Aurora, and we lived there for approximately 7 years, I imagine, and then he passed away. I had 3 children with him, and he passed away. And then I married my second husband, Frank Grove, and Jan Grove was my first husband. But we moved to Minnesota and lived there for probably 8 or 9 years. And then my older brother Tom kept calling, "You need to come home, you need to come home." And I said, "No, I don't need to come home." But between him and my husband, we decided to move back. Now wouldn't leave, you know. And my husband passed away. We were married 32 years. And he passed away. So they call me Rock Widow. But we had a good life. We had a resort when we were in Minnesota, and my husband hurt his back, so we couldn't. Had 16 cabins and 18 boats, and 100 years old resort. Then after that, we bought a farm up there, and worked on that for a couple of years, raising cattle and farming, and then ended up back here.
Okay. What was it like coming back?
It was a lot of loads. No, it was nice. The weather's nice. I mean, it's so much humidity back in Minnesota, and it was nice growing. You could grow anything as far as a garden or anything, but it was hot. But Frank's family was back there, and I really did like it back there, and I'm still really close with them. So I enjoyed it in Minnesota. I've enjoyed it here. So, but it's back home, and I got Mom and Dad's place. They got it from my grandma and grandpa, which he homesteaded, and then they moved to town, and we got it from them.
Okay.
Or the home, section of it anyway.
Right.
And I have 60 acres. No, 120 acres.
Okay.
And
Of the original homestead.
And my brothers have, it's almost all there except for about 100 acres. That was sold, or maybe 120 that was sold off. But it's all still in the family. hopefully, will stay. I don't know.
That's incredible.
And I have enjoyed living here. I remember when I was little, walking up the road, Grandpa died when I was probably in kindergarten or first grade. I remember walking back and forth from the mine up to his house for lunch and then coming back, and that was very enjoyable. I miss him a lot.
What do you remember, either one of you, about the boom in the late 70s, early 80s?
I wasn't here.
You weren't
The
here.
what?
The boom, when the power plant was built?
When the power plant was built. I know a lot of people moved in and you couldn't find a place to rent or anything. I guess I was here for most of that.
I know it was out at our house.
But it was hard to rent. It was hard to,
You were here for some of it, you think?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to thinking about it, we moved back. I was here for part of it. That one time you could find houses here a dime a dozen and then
you
a lot of people, and you used to be able to go walk down the street and know everybody, and then after the boom, you didn't know anyone. Still don't.
Boy, you write little. I can't anyone who could write.
Oh, yeah.
Very neat handwriting. So that's a big change then that's happened through the years that you see, is that the population is, you don't know everyone now?
Yeah, very few people. You used to go in the grocery store and you know everybody, and now you see 2 or 3 people and you might know. Especially the older one,
Right. Okay.
I work at the jail.
Oh, okay.
I've been there since 1986. I started part-time, and they hired me full-time in 88.
And you still work there now? So what has that been like, and what have you seen, if you can share?
We've seen everything. From someone coming in drunk to theft, murder. And we housed the Indians for a while here from Utah, and it was really nice. I mean, they worked outside in the yard and stuff, and we sent them to school for. There was some that went for their GEDs, and some that just counseling. But then they couldn't afford to send them here anymore, so we don't house them here anymore.
That's interesting.
But we hold about. There's an average population of about 50 in there now.
Okay. And what do you do specifically, if I may ask?
I'm a sergeant over the jail. So just kind of, I work the jail and I kind of help.
That's really interesting. And how have you seen that, your position change or lot?
Yeah. When we first started there was probably maybe 20 inmates. And we typed everything out, you have to type all their movements and stuff, or what's going on in the jail.
Really?
Yeah, so if they moved from one cell to another, you had to type that and stuff, or if they went to see the nurse, we had to type that out, and we had to type what they got, for a meal and stuff. Just keep everything documented. And we would get up on the weekends. We did all the cooking and everything for them, whoever was working. There was 2 of us on. And so then but it was, and when we went to computers, we go, but it's sure nice.
So you still have to document everything, type everything up.
Yeah, now we have a gal or employee, let's put it that way, up in the, we call it the bubble. It's the master control. She answers the phones, documents everything that goes on. Once in a while we have to document something, but most of the time they do it for us.
Okay.
Open and close doors and all that. So they're busy all the time.
The technology's had a hand in making it a
Oh,
little
yeah.
more efficient.
Yeah, a little easier, and we have cameras all over now.
Right.
When we were in the old jail, we had a camera in the hallway. So now we have them in the day rooms where we can watch them in the day rooms or in the kitchen or wherever they happen to be. Rec room.
If you're allowed to talk about it, how have the types of crimes changed in Craig over the year?
They haven't changed.
They haven't
a whole lot.
changed. Okay.
I mean, they're saying we've had, anything from DUIs to assaults, murder, whatever. I mean, it's just a different crowd. But the crimes are all basically the same. We've seen more drugs
Right.
than
Okay.
we used to.
Okay.
Other than that.
But not a substantial amount, just
Well,
more.
there's a lot of drugs in Craig or anywhere, I think, anymore.
Mhm.
There's quite a few drugs.
Oh, okay.
More than there used to be, let's put it that way.
Right.
But there's more people and there's,
Mhm.
way of life anymore. I mean,
Right.
these kids don't have anything to do.
Hmm.
And that's my feeling. I don't think they have enough to do
Yeah.
because they don't. And the families, both parents have to work and
Mhm.
a lot of times, and it's hard for the kids.
Right.
Hard for the whole family situation.
May I say something, or is it too late?
No, go ahead.
My mother and father-in-law, that they worked in the mine. I mean, he had guys working too, but they had a railroad track kind of came up, and they had a horse named Nig that would they would load the coal cars down in the mine, and then they would pull them up and kind of up into a big engine house. And then they would pull them over and dump them. And they supplied Craig with coal, and they would haul it in with a team buggy, or not a buggy, a team, well, anyway, a wagon. And they all worked real hard. They had, how many kids? Let's see, there was 6. And those kids...
actually, Rosalind was grandma's at 7, and she died when she was 20.
Who's that?
Rosalind
Oh,
Carter.
they had a real bad accident out here on the, as you go to Meeker, that way, between Hamilton and Craig, and it killed her and the baby, and then her, this was Rosalind, her older daughter, but they had, the boys all worked in the mine until we got married, and then my husband got a truck and hauled coal from the Knez mine, and then they hauled it from, then he worked 20 years at Carlisle, hauling coal from, they used to have to haul it to Craig before the railroad got out there. And they really worked hard. I mean, we bought the place from them, and then after he died, after my father-in-law died, and I really did think a lot of them. They really helped me a lot. But they did. Then finally they got I was wondering, that picture up there kind of looked like, I'm not sure that.
This one over here?
Yeah. Doesn't that look like that on that horse or not? Might not be, but they do have the picture here in the museum someplace.
Okay.
And,
How long was the Knez family mine open, or the Knez Coal Mine open?
well, I couldn't tell you that, but there was, because, let's see, I don't know how many years ago, how old was you when Anthony's dad died?
I was in kindergarten. I was trying to create a homestead.
Anyway, then after that, they closed the mine up, and she moved to
Says
town.
he operated the Knez Coal Mine for 23 years.
Okay.
That was my grandpa.
Right, that was Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And before that, he worked at the Walker Mine. He for quite a while. He went. You might just wanna. And here's some more.
Oh, that's right. He came from Croatia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, he was born in Austria.
He was born in
Anthony's
Austria.
dad was born in Austria. And when he came over, he didn't know a single word of English. And he would point to the menu on the ship. He said he was 16, and then he got over here, and he met, I guess his brother was here, and he stayed with them working in, was it Minnesota?
When he came, he worked down at the mine down Colburn,
Oh,
down by Grand Junction in a coal mine.
yeah, oh yeah, that's
And then
it.
he left there. His brother went to Montana, and he went to Montana to farm. And I think that's where Grandma and him met. And they got married up in Montana. And then his heart was in the coal mine, so he came back and started working the different coal mines. And he'd open them, some of them up, and they get flooded. He had to move the mine several times. And and she liked the farming, so she did a lot of farming. She cooked for a lot of the coal miners.
Mhm.
Well, they had a bunkhouse, and there was quite a few. She had breakfast, dinner, and lunch and dinner for them, and they stayed there. That's when I was helping her.
Right.
And there was, all of them are dead now. The Anton's mothers and dad's kids. And the in-laws are all dead. I'm the last one. So,
Of the 5?
yeah. They were
All the kids in that generation of the uncles and aunts and whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
See, and they're all dead now, and I'm the only one that's on that side.
Wow.
Of the in-laws. I mean, well, we called all his daughter-in-laws.
In 1934, that was the tunnel that went into the mine.
Uh-huh.
This was taken in 1947, so you can see how much more he had opened up.
My goodness.
These are all underground mines.
Yeah. And they blasted it shut after he died because no one really wanted to run it, keep it open.
Too dangerous, or?
Just no one
Oh.
wanted to do it, none of the
Okay.
brothers or anything. So they had it blasted shut because they were scared we'd go down and get lost. After I seen that map, I can understand.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Wow. Okay.
That was my grandmother, Marie Knez, and Mobile. She was, that was on a metal tin, the picture was on a piece of metal. And that was Grandpa when he was hauling coal into town. And my uncle told me that,
That's a lot of coal.
yeah, that he would dump it down by the depot, and then they'd load the train and take it out somehow also.
Okay.
That's what my uncle told me, and I never knew. This was just a few of the coal miners. And these, I'm kind of jumping around, I guess.
That's all right.
We had a neighbor that broke his leg out there. It was in 55, I guess. And all the farmers around the area got together and plowed his fields for him. This was my uncle and my dad, and then there was a bunch of...
Someone mentioned that.
Yeah.
That's so neat.
When we came to the reunion,
Yeah.
someone had mentioned that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool.
Well, his
That
son...
was, I love those pictures with the dust blowing like that and
Yeah.
stuff. And I think it took, it took a day to plow 40 acres, I think is what someone said.
Wow.
You know, now you can get in a tractor. We have friends and 40 acres in an hour.
Oh, okay.
Well, they used to go to different people's houses and help with threshing, everything, help each other, you know.
My mother and dad.
That was really nice. Everybody'd help one another do the...
Oh, you were right. There were only 5 kids. There were 6 with Roseland. But this was all of my dad's brothers and sisters. This was my dad and his sister,
Do you mind
Marie.
naming them from the oldest?
This was Louise, Fadinas now, Joseph,
He was
Raymond, Marie or Mickey. We always called her Aunt Mickey, but I guess her name was Marie, so I always called her Aunt Mickey. And
She
then
was
my
named
dad.
after your grandmother.
And then my dad, Anton.
How neat.
And that
Oh,
was.
they're right there.
Joseph here was run over by or he got out. He was combining at night, and
He got his arm caught into the gears and he bled to death,
Oh, my
basically.
goodness.
You know, now they could have saved him, but
And he was named after...
Joseph,
Joe.
yeah, his dad.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, his dad's name was Joseph, I guess, but we always called him Joe.
Yeah.
And that was my grandmother when she was 18.
Wow.
It's fantastic. You have all these
Oh, I have
pictures
tons of them at home. This was the Knez mine. This was his shop,
Oh, okay.
and it was just across the ditch from our house. So I'd go over, and if we didn't go up to his house for lunch, I'd always go over and sit when I was little and eat the...
This is the same building?
Yeah,
Okay.
just a different angle. This was my grandfather, and that was the first deer he shot in Colorado.
Wow.
And I've got that hanging on my wall.
Oh, you still have that? Wow.
So neat.
And they used to both work on a dude ranch up in Montana before they moved back to Colorado. And this, I was up to the original dude ranch, and it burned down. And this all that was left of it.
Okay.
And Grandma would cook and babysit.
Oh, okay.
And I talked to one of the guys. He was about 3 years old when my grandmother was there.
Wow.
So it was kind of special to see it.
Yeah.
And then this is a picture. I have this It's a calendar. The calendar's here. And this was. I found this up in my grandmother's house after. It was under a piece of linoleum in her closet, and it was in almost perfect condition. So my husband took it and put it in a picture frame behind the glass.
Pope Pius the 11th?
Yeah, here's a little bigger picture of it.
So they put the Pope's picture on the calendar?
That was on the front.
Well,
They had some with Donald Duck, and they had some, different ones,
I
but
see.
this was the front of the calendar, and then this was the calendar. It was just a little...
Okay.
Yeah,
That was their
calendar.
slogan, if you want the best, we have it? For
I
their
guess it was. That's what he put on there.
That's interesting. They
He was
chose the
really,
Pope.
I really
They
thought
were
Catholic? Was he
yeah,
Catholic?
He was
Okay,
Catholic
okay.
and very strong Catholic.
Okay.
And I think he did I don't know. I
That's
would
really
say
cool.
he did it for the people that were, you know, very religious or Catholics, and then he had the others for,
I see.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
he did.
my guess.
Yeah, it
He
was
marketed
that
to
way.
different,
Yeah.
to different clientele.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Wow. Those are really neat.
And I have this downstairs in my basement too.
Oh, okay.
I also have the original. I showed you a copy of his license.
Mhm.
I have that downstairs
Oh, okay.
too. I also have a copy of this. This was their wedding certificate.
Wow. That's really neat.
Yeah, and then I've got the bigger, you know, version of it that I have. It's not the original, but it was a copy. I think one of my cousins, her mother had it, and I think she has it. I'm not positive. So.
What was it like marrying into this family?
Oh, it was great. Oh.
No, just going out to your reunion and seeing the the
I didn't know.
generations there.
I didn't know hardly. You know, I know all the kids and the sisters and brothers, their kids, but you know, their kids got married out of Craig,
Right.
and I didn't know their kids.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of Knezes.
Yeah.
And then my youngest, or my boy, was run over with a tractor.
Oh my
To
goodness.
also, his son found him in the
Oh, wow.
ditch, and he was laying down like this, kind of at the edge of the water, and the tractor was kind of tipped like that.
Oh my.
So I think that he had a heart attack, you know, and got off of the tractor because one brake was set and the other one wasn't. And he always said, you know, to make sure both brakes were set. But his wife doesn't agree with me, so, but she thinks what she thinks, and I think what I think.
They're both stubborn.
That's right.
And my dad was a veteran. He was in
Vietnam.
No, he wasn't. That was around
No, that was around
World War II.
China.
World War II.
China.
They said he served in the army.
China.
Yeah.
Japan. Anton was in Japan.
This picture here was we put in the paper when my dad passed away with the 2 elk.
Mhm.
And the sheriff come to me and he says, "Were those legal?" And I said, "What are you going to do to them?" They were legal.
Well, we were cutting up deer meat and the boys, 3 of the boys, the youngest ones, were all upstairs watching TV, and they kept saying, "Mom, the house is on fire." And I thought it was the TV. And we got up, and the whole porch was up or back porch was up in flames.
Wow.
And we carried water to it, and the kids were all coming over for hunting season. And my oldest boy, he thought, boy, they're having a party of some kind all the corners. But we lost everything in that.
No truck.
This was one of Grandpa's trucks, and it had wooden spokes. I've got one of those tires in my yard.
Oh my
Off that
goodness.
truck. I found it up by his old house, and it was in the brush, and I pulled it out, and so I have the old wooden tire to that truck yet. And this picture's in the courthouse.
Oh, okay.
And this is where they went and they pulled the coal out of the mine, brought it up here, and they dumped it into this, and it had different, holes, so you get the slack.
Right.
It'd shake on them and get the fine stuff and the bigger hunks and
Right.
bigger, yeah. And we burnt this down in '81 because I was scared that it was going to fall in with the kids, and kids were mad at me. They said, "You burn our jungle gym down."
Oh.
But this is another picture of the, this was, I put this together for our reunion in it was 2002, I think, is when we had our last reunion before this one, so, and it was just, mostly, this was, my uncle's funeral and all the brothers that were left and sisters there. There was again a picture of their wedding certificate. And he spelled his name different. A lot of the documents some was spelled Knezovich, some was spelled, you notice on this truck, in here, K-U-N-E-Z.
Was that so people could pronounce it?
He didn't know how to write, and so I think it come out, I don't know for sure, but their name was Knezovich when they come to the States, I believe. So, that was family pictures there. And I think that was a fishing trip they were on. I know every dad was very religious in...
Is that you?
Yeah, that's Mom.
Oh.
Every Sunday, everything shut down unless it was something that had to be done, you know, as far as farming. But it was a family day. We'd go fishing or we'd go picnic up to Grandma's, or
Every Sunday.
every Sunday. I mean, there was no working at all.
Right.
Well, he wouldn't even let us, he believed you couldn't even buy anything on Sunday. The stores closed down. One little store was open.
Every once in a while, he'd go to that little store.
Not very seldom. He would not buy anything on Sunday, or he didn't believe working on Sunday. That was for the family. And they played horseshoes. And
Ranch
it was
there.
fun.
Oh, right.
I think that you probably talked to Edie. Yeah, that was her mother, her close to the place.
Okay.
And Louise was her mother, and Nikki was the sister.
Right.
Or Marie, I guess you should call.
Do you mind naming your folks and your siblings, just so we have it on record?
This is the one, Joseph.
For the Terry, your maiden name's Terry,
was
correct?
the one that got his arm caught
Would you
in
mind,
there. I don't remember what year that was, and this was his
do you mind
wife.
sharing your
and they
parents'
had
names and siblings, maybe?
Quite a few kids.
Just for the record here.
What was the first one?
Your parents' names.
Clarence, Terry, and Francis Terry. And there was, now I have to stop, I have a sister older than me. She
These
was,
were all Joseph's kids, or grandkids. They were there at
well,
the
when they were adopted, they got different names.
Oh, okay.
And so, but her name was, I can't even think of it. Doris. Doris Terry. And then it was me, Cleo Terry.
That was another brother.
Then there was
There's
Juanita Terry. Her
Wow.
name is Ivernay now, or was. She died last
now
year.
this is 50-51, so I'm not sure
Ivernay, and
what
then there
year
was
that really happened. I'd have to
James
go
Terry.
back and find the newspaper clipping
And
I've
then
got.
there was one,
When the
Tommy
tractors
Terry.
were all out there.
Oh, right.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure to get that on record.
Yeah, he was quite small, Rick, or Tommy was. But when they were adopted, they all had different names, like Ivernay was, Juanita there
So was a Marine?
was Ivernay.
Yes, he was a Marine, and he passed away.
my other
A few
sister
years
was
later, I
Pat,
can't
Patricia.
remember what
they-
year it was.
And,
It was Fred Knez, and it's Raymond's
well,
oldest son.
the boys, so I guess they kept the same name though. But,
Okay.
Rick was one that, well, Tommy there, he didn't like Tommy's name, so he changed his name to Rick.
And he
but,
was, I think these
Rick-
two were there at the reunion.
I
think
don't
we
know,
interviewed
Bagney.
her.
Ramona.
It was the
Oh, no,
people that
she looks
adopted.
just like someone.
They adopted 5 kids.
Oh, wow.
This was
And I think one died. It was, he was,
Rutherford.
had problems
Okay.
crippled
She
his
left
legs.
fairly
I don't know
early.
for sure just
Her
how that was.
husband passed away.
But they were very nice people
Okay.
and treated him good. Juanita there, her name was Ivernay now. She was adopted by a lawyer and his wife, and she had a real good education.
Mm-hmm.
And she married a real nice kid that was adopted too.
Oh.
And they're both dead now.
Mm.
She has more great grandkids and kids now.
Have to keep updating those numbers.
Oh.
It's the grandkids, the kids and grandkids. I have to keep updating.
Oh, yeah.
This was my mom. Loved to have that snowmobile.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, we used to have a lot of fun. Snowmobile, and they'd all come out on. We'd all go snowmobiling back
My
to the
dad
place.
loved
Fry
to
hamburgers
joke
on the
around.
rocks.
Here's a recipe he wrote up.
Best rum cake ever.
Who was that?
Dad, the cake recipe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I said, you're not putting that in the church cookbook. He said, yes, I am. And I said, I'm not taking it down.
I had 2 large legs, 2 cups fried root, and beat till high. That's really cool. Check the rum again and go to bed. Add 1 babble spoon of brown sugar.
That's too funny.
Or whatever color you can find. That's really good.
Now pour the whole mess into the coven and eat.
Yep.
That was in the Catholic cookbook.
Wow.
They put it in there?
Yeah, I said, you're not going to take that. Oh, yes,
1 or 2 quarts of rum.
I was gone and he took it. They
In
put
fact,
it in.
this is in 2 cookbooks
Is
that
it?
was published.
How
Oh, I did. What was the other one?
I think it was from the church too.
Oh.
That's good.
But
He was always pulling something. It
He's
was
a prankster.
Oh yeah. And we were at my house for Thanksgiving one day, and he says, I'll do dishes today, and
Mhm.
Dad never did dishes.
Hmm.
So he gets I says, okay. He says, I'll do all the dishes, and someone do the silverware. He picks up a bowl and looks at it, and he goes, throws it on the floor, and it shatters, and you should have seen her face.
Oh my goodness.
And I started laughing. He said, how many more you want me to do? Mom says, I've got some plates just like that at home, and these are yours.
Oh.
Oh, dear.
He loved to pull stuff.
Yeah.
I worked, after we moved to town, I worked at Sunset.
Oh, elementary?
Yeah,
Oh.
I was kitchen
This
manager.
was my
Oh.
brother. He
I
passed
done all
away
the
a couple
cooking,
years
and
ago.
I had a helper.
This is a brother that was
I
down
was
there with
kitchen manager
dunk
of the-
take.
and
Mhm.
done all the cooking.
Oh.
We didn't.
Yeah, he was.
We didn't
he had
buy
the
a lot
old
of.
tea out
We
here.
made it from scratch.
Right.
And that was-
I worked there for. I
My
can't
brother,
really
or
say. I think
family
around
are
10
basically
years,
brothers
or,
and sisters.
maybe
that
a little
was at
less.
my mom's.
but
I think that was when my
I enjoyed
dad
it. We had fun
Mhm.
over there. I had dances. They'd come in, and we had
Hmm.
A
Halloween
lot of
parties
them are not
and
here anymore.
for the people there, and they had
This was the
we
one
had
that was
Easter egg
run
coloring.
over by
Uh-huh.
the truck. He did a lot of
I just left it over
construction
there.
work.
We had so much
Okay.
fun.
that was his
We
main
had a real
job. I
good
worked for him
boss.
up on
Her
Rabbit
name was
Ears for
Sharon.
one
Monson.
summer.
Mhm.
I loved it up
And
there. I
she
just stayed up
died,
there. I'd come home and
I don't know.
wash clothes
After
and
when
get
I
food and
quit,
go back.
I
I
retired.
just, it was a great job.
I
I was
was
laid off for about
69
6
when I
months at the
retired.
sheriff's office. So
Mhm.
It was a fun job that year. I'm glad I got to go do that and be with him. And this brother was the youngest brother, and he's passed away. He had a heart attack, tumor. Had a tumor in his head. This is Tom. He was down at the reunion. He's the oldest brother. And those are just...
Every one of the kids left Craig. They said they went to Denver.
This is
They
the
didn't want to
cemetery.
be in Craig anymore.
And
Every
my
one of
dad
them,
was
when
the first one to be
they came
buried
back to
up
Craig,
there.
and the boys all worked for
the
Carlisle.
Ralphs got run over.
Same as their
and he-
dad, only they were
Now we have about 8
there
or
at the
9
mine
up
and
there.
run those big
Wow.
equipments, you know.
Wow.
But
But this is up behind
that was so
my house.
funny. I thought of that
Ralph's
so
house.
many
Mhm.
times that they,
So
that
that's kind of a
they
neat
weren't
place to
gonna,
be.
and that they weren't gonna come back to Craig. And
They
that one
all-
boy,
Wow.
Ralph, he was
And
the
that
one that
picture,
was,
I don't know what,
yeah,
that was
going
just
over
like,
the tractor.
that's how it
Right.
came out.
Wow.
he was, I thought I'd never get rid of
And
him.
then
He
this
was
was,
28, 26,
family.
28 something, 26 or 7,
My
something
grandfather's brother
And
here and his
he,
wife, and this was his
like that.
family.
Packed his clothes. Him and another kid was
Oh,
going to
good
Wyoming.
Uh-huh.
He was younger
my
then,
God.
but he was I think about 20, or no, he was about 19.
That's
I
the
guess,
uncle right here?
something like that.
Yeah,
That's-
They went to
brother?
Wyoming.
this was
Oh.
Dad's, grandpa's
Find
brother.
a job.
Oh,
Would have been my
He was
oh,
dad.
I
on one.
see, I
He
see.
It would have been my dad's
pulled his car out,
uncle,
put all of his
actually.
Right.
clothes, shirts,
And aunt.
and goodbye, you know.
When you
Next
hear-
day, here he
you
comes.
know, you hear Uncle Mike and Aunt May, you just
Coat
kind
closet.
of...
And he
Couldn't
joined,
leave.
he was in the Army, he
Donna
was
was
in
here
Vietnam
for
in
the
the Army.
reunion from Montana,
Oh, okay.
and a couple of her kids. And this was just pictures of, this was some of the coal miners here.
This is, we lived right below this big rock, and there was a path that kind of separated the rocks there. It wasn't very big either. Kids would go up there and climb down through that rock.
The other night after the reunion, they all thought they should try it, but none of them had fit.
None of them.
I didn't try because I knew I wouldn't fit.
And this was when we first got married, Nancy, and that was his dad. And him up there on the rocks, and we lived just below.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's fine. But here's the coal miners, and I think most of these worked for Dad and Grandpa, didn't they? They weren't they just that worked for Grandpa in the mine, or did they?
I don't know. I can't see them.
Just did they work for Grandpa?
I can't see them. I don't know. I imagine they did, though.
These
Oh,
were,
yeah,
and I
they
have
were,
no
yeah.
idea who. I wish I knew their names, but I don't know.
How many employees did he normally have on hand?
I couldn't say for sure, but I know there was quite a few. Oh, yeah, yeah, I think so.
I have no idea. There's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, that was before
5,
my
6,
time, I think.
7,
Or a lot
8,
of them
9,
worked
10,
there when I-
11, 12 right
Just
there.
in that, yeah.
My father and my uncle both worked for him.
Mhm.
Oh.
And these are just pictures of the ones from Montana. The family up there, and there wasn't too many that came, only about 4 or 5 of them, wasn't it? From
When at last well, there wasn't very many there. He had cancer,
and this was from this year. They just gave it to me, so I put them in there so they wouldn't get bent up.
Wow.
But there's a lot of history out there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of the boys, younger boys, would love to go open that mine up. Just to go in, not to run it. They
Right.
just want to go in.
Right.
well, there's a little hole over there, away from the entrance, that you could crawl in. There's a fresh air.
No, that's blocked off. That's
Yeah, but is it blocked up, or did it? I know they blocked it up after Uncle Dad died, but
Wow.
Johnny told me that he them kids went down there and they got in there a little ways.
Yeah, that was down off the bank, down the road.
Yeah.
And they'd go in, they found a hole and they crawled in there and there's a big room and they'd sit and play in there and stuff. And if it would have caved in, we'd never found them. We wouldn't even know where to start looking for them.
Wow.
And there was one guy, I don't know, that was before I moved back, he was going to open up the mine, and the Walker mine, and it caved in on him and killed him. And, and they called Mom to go, and my brother to go down and check it, and they didn't. It was caved in, so they...
Well, he was right at the entrance to Delores.
Was he?
And I went up when his wife called and wanted me to go up and check on him because he was working by himself. And drove around like this, and right here was the entrance, and he was sitting right here. And no, he wasn't sitting right there. That was when I went up and talked to him. But that night I looked in there and I got kind of scared. So I went back down to get a flashlight, and by that time she called the sheriff, and when I got back they were all up there, and they found him. He was dead. And my Bobby, the third, fourth, he went up there one night to talk to him and was riding his motorcycle, and the guy said, "Oh, come on in." He says, "No," he said, "I'm not going in there." He said, "Well," he said, "you're worse off riding that motorcycle than you are in here." And Bobby, he says, "Well, I'll ride the motorcycle, let him stay in there if he wanted to." But I went down in that Knez mine one day with Anto and his dad, and boy, I'm telling you, I was never so glad to get out of it. And then one night, his dad was after we were married, and his dad was going down in the mine to set off, fix some dynamite or something down there. And so Anton and I went down with him, and his mother came and babysat the kids and got down there, and oh man, was I ever glad to see them old stars that we come out. That was the last time I went down in that mine.
Well, he used to go down and set the dynamite off at night.
Yeah. And have coal.
When the workers were out of there.
Oh.
He'd go down, and a lot of times Grandma would go with him, which was, if anything would have happened, would have been bad.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, she used to go down there and help him a lot in the mine at night after everyone was gone,
That's crazy.
She was a good woman. She worked hard. She raised chickens and garden, and she sold eggs and cream and milk and vegetables out of her garden. And then when she moved to town, we moved to our house up to their house up there. Boy, I'm telling you, I couldn't raise nothing up there. She had watermelon, everything. And then
You'd probably get mad at me.
What's that?
She also had a still.
Oh.
She made bootleggers.
You shouldn't say that.
Why? It was part of history. Every time they say that, they get mad at me. I'd love to have that still. Couldn't find it.
Was it during?
Oh, we found it.
Yeah, but someone stole it.
They what?
Someone stole it.
Oh, Anton's dad took that because he was so scared.
But, it helped support the mind, the family, and everything. And she wasn't a real big bootlegger, but she did bootleg some and made it. And Aunt Louise said every once in a while she'd get to go down with her to get it.
Wow.
Well, one night,
That's interesting.
a car had come up, and Anton's dad was scared to death. It was the sheriff, So anyway, he got disgusted, and he took the steel, and he took it. They couldn't find it. They looked and looked for it, and my boys went back there someplace, and they found it. and they brought it down, and it was down there when the fire, but it was over in that shop.
It was up in the shop behind the house there. When I moved there, I said, I wished I would have known it, because I'd have it.
But she
You just
wouldn't.
don't find them.
He was so
Yeah.
scared, and he didn't want her to do it, but she would do it anyway. She made good beer, too. She had whiskey, too. And she said, you know, the reason that she got by with it for so long was because she would go in or she would find out who wanted it. I mean, she had customers. She said they wouldn't say anything. They'd just say hi, and she'd hand them, and they'd hand her the money, and she'd go their way.
Wow.
Quick and easy.
That was fun.
Wow.
But they said they don't, I mean, a lot of them don't like that brought up, but I think it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if she'd wanted it brought up or not. I know I
What did they bring to her? When I'm dead and gone, you can say anything you want about me.
Well, I probably won't be here.
You never know.
Oh, yeah. And then, when my oldest boy came back moved back from Denver when he bought the house that I live in now. And he said, his boy started school and he didn't want him to go to Denver school, so he brought him back to Craig. And so I was so tired of the farm, and because I'd never been on a farm until I got married, and I said, I'd love to move to town. I just love to move to town. And Tommy, he says, well, I would love to move out the ranch. So we decided that we'd trade houses for 6 months. So Tommy, I didn't even tell Aunt Tom this much, I didn't say nothing. And Tommy came out, that we'd move a load of his furniture to my house, we'd move ours into his house. And I never told Aunt Tom we were moving. And I thought, he come home and it was so funny. He felt I felt bad then too, because he sat there, tears run down his eyes, because he was born, raised out there, met all of our married life mostly. And, anyway, Leon, I think it was Leon, and my son's father-in-law came over, and they talked to him, and anyway, it was supposed to be for 6 months, and then we'd trade back.
Right.
And so every day I thought, oh gosh, it was getting close to 6 months. So I said, Anton was sitting there, and Helen and Tommy come in, and they said, well, what did you decide? And I said, well, it's up to Anton. I said, do you want to move back or not? He said no, but see, he had to use a cane, and the steps out there was kind of hard to get up and down. And I think he really liked it, but Louise, his older sister, she told me, she said, if I would have done that, Charlie would have killed me. I was kind of scared a little bit, too. But it was all for the best, that we moved in. And then he worked at the Gelsonite, and it was just, he'd come home, and it was easier and everything, and I think he thought so. But he said he wanted to stay after 6 months. They wanted to stay. They built a house out there above her and lived up there.
Right.
And Helen didn't like the country very well either. And the first day they moved up there, Tommy said there was a rattlesnake right under the porch patio up there. He was really scared, because she was, but they didn't live there. How long did they live there?
Oh, they lived there for a few years.
Did they? And then the road up there was kind of bad, and she was a city girl, so she didn't care too much, I think. But they had a real cute little house up there and everything. It was modular,
Mm.
and they had, but I think it all turned out for the best, because when after Anton died, I was, I'd be scared to death to live out there with, by myself, I'm almost scared to live in town by myself.
You're probably worse off in town than I am.
I lock all my windows, all my doors, and I got locks on my windows, and I got 6.
People were shy.
I can give you a dog.
I don't want no dog.
So, because the Catholic Church now is St. Michael's, but it used to be, wasn't there a church before that? Like
Oh yeah, St. Michael's.
Yeah. Was there a different church? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a smaller church. In fact, I've seen a picture of it this
I
morning.
have a picture of it. I never thought. I have a big dish, and it has St. Michael's on it.
Oh, okay.
It had a bell, where you could ring the bell, and
It was sitting on School Street right where the rectory is now.
Okay.
And then they built the other one and they tore that one
I
down.
see. Okay.
yeah, and Anton, there were several guys took their trucks to get lumber and stuff from Denver to to build the church. No, it was the house. The house it was, and so Father Sirianni was here, a priest at the time, and he was such a good priest. And they was waiting down there, and him and there was another guy that had a truck. They were Anton and him. Joe Trill had the permits, and they was all waiting down there. And they started out from Denver with the lumber, 2 trucks, John Farhar and Anton. And they were good buddies, and they had to stop and have a beer, and they'd go, and they was all waiting, and Father would call them, and they'd say, or they'd call and they'd say, well, we're in maybe Kremling or something. They had to stop and have another beer. And he says, Anton, we're waiting here. I got a crew here to unload those trucks, because they had to haul coal the next day in them.
Right.
Father, he really did laugh about it. And they wrote down everything that they gassed, the lumber, how many times they stopped, how many beers they bought, everything. And they presented the bill to Father Sirianni, and he just laughed. He said, I know he wasn't, they put the bill to going over there and coming back, but they went to where was that place in Denver? They have all the rides. I guess Joe got real sick
Oh, no.
on one roller coaster or something. I don't know.
Lake rides.
Oh gosh, they had more fun, I think, than we did, or they did. Waiting for them. And I was a Baptist before I joined the Catholic Church. I don't know, but anyway, he said, I'm not marrying anyone that isn't Catholic, so guess what? I joined the church, and I never regretted it. I love it. Father Sirianni was here, or Father Slattery was here. He married us, and he gave me my instructions. I heard a bunch of stuff about the church, and I was kind of scared, but it was nice. I mean, I wouldn't change it now for nothing.
Right.
Are you Catholic?
I'm not. She is.
I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it for nothing.
Is there anything else you need, or?
No, this was a really fun interview.
It
That was
really
really
was.
good. That was really good.
Well,
Do you have anything else you'd like reported?
Oh, I can't think of anything right off. When I get home, I'll.
Well, we had a wonderful life on the farm. Kids were all good. When they left, I just about oh, I cried. I couldn't. And then Tommy's granddaughter, she graduated from high school last year. And so she got her a job and she moved to Denver. And he felt so bad. So I was over there and he was, she was packing her stuff she had a job and room and everything. And I looked at him and I said, now you know how I felt.
Yeah. When the kids go away.
He said, yeah, he knew. He said, I'm fine to know.
And I guess the best thing about growing up, we did have a family life. I mean, we all worked on the farm or did something. We all had our little chores. I got stuck in the house most of the time. But I mean, we all had our chores, and it was fun because it wasn't just our family. It was the uncles and aunts and all the cousins we did together on weekends or Sundays, and it was always something fun to do. I mean, we didn't go on very many trips as far as like you do now. We might go to Denver once a year, or or somewhere once in a blue moon. But it was all, you didn't have the TV. Ralph would get out there and play cowboys and Indians. And you'd think, oh, he's hurt. He'd jump up, stick him.
He come running down one night he was up in the field. He was little, he was riding a horse up there. He come running down, or got down, he said, Dad, I seen a bear. A bear's up there. And Anton said, Ralph, there's no bears around here. Yes, Dad, there's a bear up there. And Anton kept on, he said, well, I seen the track. It was quite interesting life.
And my brother got lost one day and we couldn't find him. And we looked and looked and looked and looked, and she was about ready to call the sheriff's department or whatever. And pretty soon she said, John, you want to go to town with me? And he got locked in the cellar. And when she said go to town, he wanted to go to town, and he come out of the cellar. He had a purse on his arm.
And a big hat.
Oh, my God.
And he was just standing in there, and it was dark. I don't know how long he'd been in there, And he was just standing there holding that purse. And
he just happened to be enraged. But it was a cellar, and then it had an inside door and an outside door.
Oh,
so
right.
He got in, and it was just a regular door, but he was little enough he could. So he was always doing something there. One day he climbed in the closet, and we looked all over.
Oh, yeah, we looked all over.
He was taking a nap in the closet.
It was quite an experience. It was all turned out. Really. And I just really am thankful that I had such good in-laws. And there's a lot of them still. I mean, the nieces and nephews are in Craig.
Well, thank you for sharing all that.
Okay.
You're
Well,
welcome.
I don't know how it sounds, but.